Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a tiny but absolutely potent piece of text that hits right at the heart of our collective anxiety around artificial intelligence. We're not talking about abstract algorithms or some distant sci-fi future today. No, we're talking directly about your everyday job. How does this massive new technology actually interact with the very things you sit down to do every single morning? Let's dive in.
And that brings us to the ultimate question on literally everyone's mind right now. Breakthrough or just a bubble? Are we actually witnessing a fundamental, permanent shift in how human labor operates, or is this just, well, the latest tech fad inflating right before our very eyes? To figure this out, our source material today uses one of the most brilliant, kind of absurd, yet entirely accurate metaphors I've seen in a long time.
Here's the scenario the text presents. A robot monkey, the smart monkey, begins to pick bananas faster than real monkeys. Just let that imagery sink in for a second. It's pretty funny, right? You picture a shiny, metallic robot monkey out there swinging through the jungle. But actually, underneath that playful, almost silly imagery is a deeply profound observation about the reality of the modern workplace.
Section 1. AI and your work, tearing down the metaphor.
So this short phrase perfectly captures the very real anxiety surrounding AI at work right now. By breaking it down, we essentially strip all that complicated, intimidating tech jargon right out of the conversation. Notice how clinical the definition becomes when we isolate it. The text explicitly introduces us to the smart monkey, which completely personifies artificial intelligence. It's no longer just, lines of code sitting unseen on some massive distant server. It becomes a physical entity, an entity that's entering our daily routines, standing right next to us, ready to do the work.
And what exactly is that work? Picking the bananas. Now, in our context, these aren't just fruit, obviously. They represent your tangible output. Every email you send, every spreadsheet you balance, every single creative problem you solve, those are your bananas. It represents the daily grind, the actual, concrete value you produce every single time you clock in.
Section 2. The smart monkey, the confrontation. We aren't just looking at a passive tool sitting quietly on a desk anymore. No, we're looking at an active, direct confrontation happening right now in offices everywhere. And this perfectly illustrates that dynamic. On one side, we have the real monkeys. Well, that's us, the human workers who've been doing the job, honing our skills, and learning the ropes for years. And facing off against them is the smart monkey, the ultimate AI disruptor. By placing them side by side like this, the source text forces us to really compare the two directly. But here is the true crux of the disruption. Faster. Notice that the source text doesn't say the smart monkey picks better bananas, or prettier bananas, or even more creative bananas. It simply says it picks them faster. I really want you to reflect on that for a second. What happens to the real monkeys? What happens to us when we absolutely can no longer keep up with the sheer, relentless pace of collection? Speed fundamentally changes the entire economy of the jungle, doesn't it?
Section 3. Breakthrough or bubble, the hidden cost.
Okay, so speed isn't the only metric that matters here. We need to look critically at the actual holistic value and the long-term sustainability of this incredibly fast smart monkey. Our text poses a pretty stark warning, bringing up the possibility of a new bubble. Now, we've all seen tech bubbles before, right? A massive surge of excitement, a huge rush of corporate investment, and that breathless promise that literally everything is going to change overnight. By invoking the word bubble, the text is actively asking us to pause and question things. Is this robot monkey actually creating entirely new foundational value, or is it just inflating a massive trend that might completely pop when the hype eventually fades?
And then the text delivers this final, bizarre, and just incredibly poignant twist that drinks too much water. A bubble that drinks too much water. It's a striking, almost surreal image, honestly, but it highlights the massive and often totally ignored resource cost of this new technology. The smart monkey might be incredibly fast, it might be absolutely dazzling us with its sheer speed of banana collection, but what is it consuming to achieve that? What's the massive, unseen drain on resources required just to keep this bubble inflated? In the real world, this isn't just a fun metaphor. It's the literal millions of gallons of water required to cool the massive data centers powering today's AI models. Think about that. So, we end right back where the text challenges us. Is it a breakthrough, or just a new bubble that drinks too much water? It's a question I want to turn directly over to you. Take a really close look at your own industry. Look at your daily tasks. When the smart monkey shows up at your workplace,
Is it a true, sustainable breakthrough that's going to genuinely change the world for the better, or is it just a remarkably fast, incredibly thirsty illusion? Think deeply about that the next time you sit down to pick your daily bananas. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to keep questioning the jungle around you.